in the Gaza Strip is electricity, because Israel switched off the mains power. So it's generators that provide fuel, especially in hospitals. And that's why we heard the World Health Organization last night calling for a ceasefire and deliveries of fuel. They estimate that about a third of the hospitals in the Gaza Strip are non-functional because of lack of fuel at this time of great need. So that's the position that's being put by the WHO, by UNRWA, the organisation that works with refugees. Israel puts a different point of view. It says there is fuel in the Gaza Strip. It's just not available to civilians. It's being hoarded, if you like, or stored by Hamas for its own uses. Last night they put on social media, in their Arabic language account actually, an aerial image of something like 12 massive barrels of what they say is diesel fuel waiting to be used. So they now say back to UN organisations in the Gaza Strip, go ask Hamas for it. They're using it for themselves in their tunnels under the ground, and they're using it the one thing that is still functional, it seems, is the rocket fire that's coming across. So that battle of narratives is now coming to a very sharp focus because of the desperation inside the Gaza Strip. And I have to say one other thing in terms of a ceasefire. You could just see yesterday that on the ground, there is nothing further from imagination than a ceasefire. It was a day of intense bombardment by Israeli warplanes inside the Gaza Strip and intensive barrages of rockets that were coming across into Israel up to and including Tel Aviv. There was also a sea infiltration, so Gazan militants coming across by sea. Something like 7 came across. That remains ongoing. Also, 2 rockets fired from Syria into Israel. Overnight, we heard from Syrian sources that there were Israeli airstrikes in Syria in return. Israel hasn't confirmed or denied that. They don't usually. So you can see that the wheels keep turning despite the suffering of civilians in Gaza.
And Irris, what about the Israeli plans for its invasion? Where are we with that?
We heard from Israel's military over the past 24, maybe even 48 hours that they're ready. They're waiting for a green light from the politicians. Last night, we heard from the military chief of staff, who was talking to soldiers, not to journalists, and he conceded for the first time that there actually is a delay. And he said it was for strategic reasons, he described it as, and people are interpreting that to mean a possible hostage deal. So we've seen reports in the Israeli media, not confirmed by Israeli official sources, saying there is ongoing, there is a deal being brokered. We know that there's been discussions with Egypt, with Qatar, which funds, it's the patron of Hamas, and with the US. But now a suggestion that Israel is involved too. And the idea is, or the aim is, the release of the women, the children, the babies, the elderly, the sick, the civilians, get them out. And once again, it appears from reports today that the stumbling block is fuel and the entry of fuel into Gaza. So you can see how critical fuel is for the civilians, but I'd suggest from these reports also for Hamas.
Irris, thanks very much.